So guys, you're never gonna believe this. Like, I couldn't even believe it. So first of all, I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what happened to me, and then I'm gonna get into a story that is going to blow your freaking minds. So of all days, Christmas Day, guys, my favorite day of the year. I love Christmas so much. I wait all year for Christmas. Like, it'll be in the middle of the summer and I will look at my husband and say, I can't wait for Christmas. And then he will look at me and say, you're on crack. Guys, seriously, I love Christmas so much. I literally prepare weeks and weeks and weeks in advance to make sure that Christmas is the most special day of the year. Like, I'm talking, I do lots of shopping, which who doesn't, but I like go overboard on the shopping. I can't help it. I bake like a zillion cookies. If you guys follow me on any of my social medias, you will see that I made like so many cookies this Christmas that I had to sadly throw some out because there was so many that they couldn't get eaten in time, and I had to But anyways, guys, Christmas morning comes around, everything is great. You know, we're all gathering around the tree, opening the presents, all of that stuff. And then we had family come over for Christmas dinner, and around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I would say, I started feeling this really sharp pain in my right lower side. So I'm like, what the f is going on? It just kept getting worse and worse. I got a fan, like one of those, you know, those, I don't even know what they're called, like the Korean fans, Japanese, Chinese fans. I don't know what the hell they're called. But anyway, I had one of those and I'm like, I'm freaking sweating my ass off. I don't know what's going on with me. Oh my God, I'm in so much pain. What's going on? So finally the pain got so bad that I had to actually go in my bedroom and lay down during Christmas. On Christmas Day, while my family was playing games and having Christmas dinner, which, by the way, the day before on Christmas Eve, I literally spent 2 hours making lasagna rolls because for those of you who don't know, I am Italian, so our traditional Christmas dinner is we make lasagna and we make homemade meatballs and we put those in the crock pot or the slow cooker along with some sausage, and we make Italian bread and chef salad and like chocolate cake, and we go all out. So the day before Christmas, I was literally rolling lasagna rolls for 2 hours and I didn't even get to eat any. Like, not that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love lasagna. I mean, who doesn't? But it just sucked that I spent all that time making all of that food and I couldn't enjoy it. So I'm laying in bed, I'm in excruciating pain, I'm vomiting, I'm sweating, I'm like, I don't know what the is going on with me. The whole time I'm in bed, I'm listening to my family play games and have dinner, and I'm like on the verge of tears. I'm like, it's Christmas. What am I doing in bed on Christmas? So finally, I start feeling a little better. I took some Tylenol. I started feeling a little better, and I went out to the main house where my family was. I started helping to clean up from dinner, and because they had just gotten done eating dinner, so I felt good enough to, you know, like do some dishes and pick up some things. So we decided to play some cards and just kind of chill for a little while, enjoy the rest of the day, seeing as how I was in bed for a lot of it. And we decided to play cards, and the whole time we're playing cards, I am in so much pain, guys. But I didn't want to announce it because I didn't want to keep ruining Christmas. Like, that is the whole thing for me. Like, Christmas, just Christmas, 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 Christmas. So anyways, after our family leaves, I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed. I'm gonna like sleep this off, get up the next morning and see how I feel. And my husband was like, you're vomiting, you're in a lot of pain, you might need to go to the ER. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to the ER, because every time I go to the ER for something, they send me home and they're like, oh, you're fine. You're fine. Nothing's wrong with you. We're just gonna make a complete liar out of you and, you know, just go home. You're fine. We'll send you a $10,000 bill in about 4 weeks. So I'm like, I'm just gonna sleep it off. I'm gonna see how I feel in the morning. If I feel the same way or worse in the morning, then I will go to the doctor. Right before I went to sleep, something was telling me to take my temperature. I'm like, I don't know why, but something was like, go grab that thermometer, girl. So I took my temperature. Lo and behold, it was like 101 something. And I looked at my husband and I said, okay, the pain, the vomiting, because I was just assuming that I was vomiting because of the pain that I was in. And now I have a fever. I don't f with fevers, guys. I don't. I do not mess around when it comes to fevers. So I was like, all right, let's go to the ER. So I get there. Christmas night, I'm expecting this place to be packed. I'm expecting there to be nowhere to sit in the waiting room, a super long wait just to see a doctor. It's Christmas night, y'all. I mean, hello. So we get there, nobody's there. Not one patient, not one. I was like, this is cool. Like, we're just gonna get right in and out of here. We're gonna get in there and they're gonna tell me that I gotta take a shit or something to go home, take a and go to bed, and then we'll be sure to send you that bill. So anyways, I get there and I tell them all my symptoms and stuff. They immediately start injecting me with morphine and I'm like, no! I hate narcotics. Like, I hate the way they make me feel. And I told them, I don't want morphine. I don't want morphine. And they're like, considering the amount of pain you're in, you need something, and morphine is the best thing right now because you're in the ER, you're not admitted, so we can't give you anything else like Tramadol or anything else. We have to give you morphine. And I'm like, can you just give me like half a dose instead of a whole dose? And they're like, yeah, we can do that. So I'm like, all right. So they give me the morphine and I'm in bed and I'm like, and they take me down to get a CT scan done. And I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna take a few hours for these scan results to come back because that's usually what happens. But anyway, guys, 10 minutes later, 10 minutes later, the doctor comes in and he looks at me and he goes, I wish I had my students here with me right now, because all of the symptoms that you are having and the way that you're describing your pain and things that are going on is a direct shot to an appendicitis. He goes, and that's what you have. So I'm like, oh, that's awesome. An appendicitis on Christmas Day. There's 364 other days in the year. On Christmas Day. So the doctor said to me, your white blood cell count is super high, so there might be a really good chance that you have an infection as well. And I'm like, oh, that's just freaking awesome. Thank you for that. So anyways, they admit me into the hospital. I send John home for the night. I'm like, go home and sleep. Come back in the morning. I'm still gonna be here. And so the next day, my surgeon comes in to explain everything, and he's like, yep, you're definitely gonna have your appendix out. They're gonna come up right now, and they're gonna come get you. We're gonna bring you down. We're gonna get you prepared. The anesthesiologist is gonna go over everything with you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I must warn you of some possibilities before we get into this surgery. Possibilities? What are you talking about? So he said, there's a chance that your appendix may have ruptured. Now, when they did the CT scan the night before, they didn't say anything about a ruptured appendix. They just said that you have an appendicitis. Your white blood cell count is super high. We know that that's what it is. So then he also said to me, if your appendix did rupture, you would have major infection that would probably cause us to have to put in a drain tube in your abdomen. And I'm like, what? So my aunt was there, and her husband and my husband were there as he was explaining this to me, and I'm literally looking at this guy like I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Now I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't make any sense. So he leaves the room and I'm talking to my family and I'm like, if my appendix had ruptured, I would probably be in lots more pain at this point. And my aunt was like, well, you know, he probably tells you all this stuff because He has to. It's protection for him, protection for the hospital. It's protocol, just in case the worst case scenario happens. He explained it to you beforehand, but it's probably nothing. They're just gonna take your appendix out. You're gonna go home in a day or two. Everything's gonna be fine. Wrong. Everything wasn't fine. Go in. I have the surgery done. I wake up. I have all of these things hanging off of me. Like all of these things hanging off of me. I have a catheter. Sorry to get so personal. I have the drain tube in my stomach. I have these two giant things around each of my legs that are contracting to keep my blood flow normal so that I don't develop blood clots and things like that in my legs. And then of course I got the IV and I got all these things hanging off of it, and just, I wake up and the first thing I hear is, your appendix ruptured. Huh? So I'm out of it. I mean, I'm still under anesthesia. So I heard what they said. I remember what they said, and then I fell back to sleep. And so apparently when they wheeled me back to my room, I don't remember it because I was asleep, but apparently I said, it ruptured. And that was it. I was in the hospital for 5 days, y'all. 5 motherfucking days. I was in the hospital. 5, count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was a nightmare. It was a complete freaking nightmare. So come to find out, I did have a severe infection due to my appendix rupturing, which, guys, let me just tell you, I had no warning signs. None. I had no pain. Usually, 9 times out of 10, when somebody has an appendicitis, they get pain indicating that they have an appendicitis, and then the pain just gets a lot worse when the appendix ruptures, if the appendix ruptures. A lot of times patients can make it to the hospital before their appendix ruptures and they can get it taken out to avoid all of the shit that I had to go through. But again, there was no warning signs. None. I had no pain, nothing. My appendix just said, pop, and here comes the pain. Like, so anyways, guys, it was a nightmare. I was in the hospital again for 5 days. And here's the real story that you guys have been waiting for. Here is the real story. Here's the kicker. So while I was in the hospital, it was the day after I went in, which was the day of my surgery. So I had surgery, I believe it was around 11 a.m. The morning of December 26th. And then that evening, you know, I was awake at that point, you know, hours had passed and I was in a lot of pain. At that point, they had already taken the catheter out. So for me to use the facilities involved me unstrapping each of the large balloon thingies that I had on my legs, because they were attached to these cords that was attached to a machine that was attached to the end of my bed. So I literally felt like I was like being chained down into my bed. But anyway, I had to take these things off of my legs, both legs. I had to unhook all of the things that were attached to my IV, and I had to unhook the little things that were attached to my EKG thingies that were attached to the machine behind me, all just to go pee. Like, just to go pee. It was horrible. That night, the same day I had my surgery, but that night they had nurse switch. I believe it was like 7 p.m. or something that the nurses switch shifts. And so my night nurse for that night came in, introduced herself. I'll never forget her name. Her name was Crystal, and her last initial was B. And that's the only reason why I know that is because she wrote it on the board in my room, Crystal B, and it never got erased after this incident that I'm about to tell you guys about. So anyway, she comes in, she introduces herself, nice as can be. John is still there. For those of you who don't know, John is my husband. John is still there. And at that point, I had to get up and use the bathroom. Like, I had to freaking pee, okay? So she come in, she unhooked all my stuff, and John helped me to the bathroom, and I'm, you know, doing the best I can in there, because the bathroom was literally like 1 foot by 1 foot, even though it was in my room, which was nice. So I had my own bathroom. And I come out and then she comes back in and I'm having a hard time getting back into bed because I'm in so much pain, so much pain. I mean, I just had surgery a few hours prior to that. So I had like 3 incisions. 2 of them were the surgery incisions and then 1 of them were where the drain tube was, which mind you, the drain tube was still in my stomach. It was disgusting. And at the end of the drain tube was this thing. The only way I could describe it was it looked like a grenade. It literally looked like a grenade, but it was clear so you could see the ickiness that was going into it. Oh God. So anyway, I had that hanging off of me as I'm trying to waddle my ass back to bed. She comes in and she's like, sit on the edge of the bed and put your legs up. She goes, don't even move. I'm just gonna grab your legs and swing them up onto the bed. And I'm like, all right. So she did that. And when she did it, I literally thought I was gonna fly through the wall on the other side of my bed. So anyways, John leaves. I send John home. It's getting late and I'm like, go home, sleep, and then come, I'll be here. I'm still gonna be here. I'm not going anywhere. And so he leaves, which I feel this nurse found the perfect opportunity to come in and act like a total freaking bitch towards me because my husband is no longer there and there's nobody there to witness this. Nobody there to witness this. But this bitch didn't know who she was messing with. She thought wrong. So anyway, she comes back into my room and she's standing there. And so next to me, there's monitors behind me, there's monitors next to me. I'm hooked up to all these monitors. And next to me, there's it's a heart monitor. It was measuring my heart rate and my blood pressure and things. And you guys have probably had it. It's this little thing that goes on your finger, right? And I'm looking at it and my heart rate is dropping and dropping and dropping. And I call her, and oh no, she was already in there. She was already in there. And I look over at her and I'm like, do you see this? Like, do you see this? What's going on over here on this monitor? I'm like, my heart rate is dropping down into the 30s. The 30s, people. Normal heart rate, for those of you who don't know, is anywhere between 60 and 90 beats per minute. My heart rate was dropping down into the 30s, like 34, 35 beats per minute. That's not good. That's actually really dangerous. So I look at her and I'm like, I'm a little worried about this over here. Like, do you see this? Like, is this real? Like, is my thingy broken? Or like, what's going on? So with the biggest attitude that she could probably muster up, she goes, that's because you just had surgery. What? Yeah, anesthesia makes your heart rate go down, like way down. It's normal, so stop freaking out. And I'm just like, okay. Let me go and Google this. Y'all, I am the biggest Googler on the planet, okay? I should win an award. Google should send me an award for using their services more than anybody else on this planet, okay? I'm not even kidding. And I said, okay, so I'm gonna Google it. And I'm like, okay, she's right. She's right. You know, when you have surgery, anesthesia, it messes with your not only your pulse, but your blood pressure. So it makes your pulse go down and your blood pressure go up. Awesome. So she's like, it'll wear off. Don't worry. It'll go back to normal. And this is how she was talking. Don't worry. Like, stop. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So anyways, she leaves, right? She leaves. And I'm watching this monitor and it's going down and down and down. So I press the red button and I call her back in and I said, I didn't really say that. But I said, it's getting lower. Like, I'm freaking out. Like, I'm freaking out. Mind you, I wasn't rude. I wasn't disrespectful. I was kind of panicky, a little panicky, but not like I didn't give her a reason to act like a bitch. So she then looked at me and she goes, you know what? No, I'm sorry. Let me backtrack a little bit. So when I called her back in to address the fact that I was literally dying in front of my eyes, I said to her, I said, I do have heart issues. I said, I have regular PVCs. For those of you who don't know what PVCs are, they are premature ventricular contractions. It is where the top valve and the bottom valve of your heart don't work as a team for a few seconds. So like when the bottom valve shoots blood up through your heart, then the top valve shoots it back out and it circulates, comes back, whatever. Mine doesn't do that. What it does is my bottom valve will take in the blood and then my heart will stop beating for like 1.5 to 2 seconds and then it goes boom, and it beats back and it shoots the blood out the top valve and it does it again. But I experienced this probably, without exaggeration, 50 to 100 times a day. I'm not even kidding. So I said this to her, I said, well, I experience PVCs on a daily basis all the time. So seeing this is freaking me out on top of everything that I already deal with my heart. This literally, she came close to my bed. She looked at me and she goes, it is your responsibility to make sure that we know these things. I'm like, you know what? You do know these things. Go and look in your system, because I have been hospitalized in this hospital 2 times for premature ventricular contractions. It's in there. Go look, go do your job and go look and get to know your patients, get to know what's going on with them so that you can properly care for them. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I was biting my tongue, but I did look at her and I said, oh, I did. You guys are very well aware that I experience PVCs, and she got so pissed off at me, it wasn't even funny. It's like, because I came back and made her look like an idiot, she got pissed off at me. So anyways, she leaves the room, comes back in, but when she came back in, I was on the phone with my mother and I was telling my mother how this nurse was treating me and how she was speaking to me and stuff, and she must have heard me, because when she came in the room, that's when I was telling my mother, I don't know how she doesn't know these things. I've been in this hospital 2 other times for PVCs. Plus, I did let them know again in the ER when I was in the ER the night before. I did bring it up to them, as I always do. So she didn't like the fact that I was on the phone with somebody talking to them about the situation at hand. She did not like that. She must have been already having a bad day, or something triggered her and she was just taking it out on her patients or something, because I can't even begin to explain to you guys the level of attitude that this nurse had with me. So she comes in, she has her little cart with her laptop on it, and she's wheeling it in my room, and she goes, we're gonna give you a series of blood tests and stuff for your heart and everything else. But again, no, she didn't say it like that. So we're gonna give you a series of blood tests for your heart so that you can calm down and blah, 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 blah. And she just, and after a while, I just spaced out, because it was like I was blacking out, because she was pissing me off. So finally I looked at her. Again, I was on the phone with my mother. She is a total witness to this. Finally, I looked at this nurse and I said, nice as can be, because you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, guys. Keep that in mind. So as nice as can be, I looked at her and I said, I gotta be honest with you. I do not appreciate the way you're speaking to me and the attitude that you are giving me. And she looked at me and she goes, I gotta be honest with you. You should have told us this shit before you came in. What? Again? We're back to this again. Oh my God. So I just looked at her. I didn't say nothing. I just look at her. She's just standing there. She's just standing there staring at me with stink eye like. And I'm just like, what do I do? I can't just walk out. What do I do? So finally she speaks up and she looks at me and she goes, I'm gonna go get somebody else to take care of you for the rest of the night. And I looked at her and I go, ma'am, thank you. I would appreciate that. So she takes her little cart, she starts hauling ass out of my room. This bitch, guys, this bitch slams my door. Mind you, the doors on hospital rooms are big, they're heavy, like mine was, but she managed to slam it so hard that my mother, who was on the phone with me, goes, oh my God, what just fell? She goes, that sounded so loud, something big had to have fallen. And I go, this just slammed my door. Oh my God. There was so much force behind this door slam that it echoed so loud. And again, I don't know how she did it, because this door was heavy. I mean, it was heavy, and it was on like those things to where if you let it go, it just and shuts on its own. I don't know how the frick she did it, but she did it. And let me just tell you, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Guys, if you are a nurse, okay? If you are a nurse of any kind, if you're an ER nurse, an OR nurse, an RN, and you know, if you work in an old folks home, any type of nurse, it does not matter. It does not matter. Your main objective as a nurse is to make sure that your patients are comfortable, stress-free, and have the things that they need. That is a nurse's all-around job. Yes, it's a nurse's job to also do other medical things, obviously, but you're not a doctor. You're a nurse. Very much appreciated. I, for one, very much appreciate nurses because they go through a lot of shit and they deal with a lot of different types of people. And I would hate to see how she treats people that actually give her a hard time. Oh my God. So anyways, guys, remember when I said earlier that she was messing with the wrong person? Yeah, because I literally had management come in, the manager, like the general manager of the hospital. I made sure that they were in my room for me to speak to them at 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't give up. I was persistent. Get that manager in here now. I want him in here now. I don't care what time it is. I'm wide awake. I'm dealing with this shit. I want them here now. It took me about 3 or 4 hours to get that manager in my room, but guess what? They showed up and I told them everything that happened. She was pissed. She was pissed. She was like, all right, well, that is completely uncalled for and unnecessary, and I'm gonna go talk to her right now, and I do apologize, and blah, blah. I mean, she couldn't apologize enough. And it actually got carried over to the point to where the nurses from the next day heard about what happened and made sure, Sarah, shout out to you, Sarah. I don't know her last name, but she was an amazing nurse at Shore Point Hospital in Punta Gorda, Florida, guys. I mean, they were all, other than Crystal B, they were all freaking amazing. But Sarah herself made absolute sure that for the remainder of my stay in that hospital, I did not have to deal with that nurse again. So she literally assigned me nurses that were taking care of patients on the other side of the hospital, that they had to come all the way over to this side to check on me and take care of me and things like that, because she made absolute sure that I did not have to deal with that nurse again. And let me just tell you what a freaking relief that was. It actually also got carried over to the point to where I got a letter in the mail from the hospital apologizing left and right and wanting me to call them to give them more details on what happened, which I should probably do. I haven't gotten around to doing that. But I think that lady got fired. I think she got fired, and let me just say, I never, ever, ever wish that somebody would lose their job, loss of employment for anybody, unless you don't deserve it. Like this lady, this Crystal B lady is not qualified to be a nurse. Absolutely 1,000,000% not qualified to be a nurse. But anyways, guys, that is my story. Oh my freaking God. Not only did I get screwed out of Christmas, but I ended up in the hospital for 5 days with a condition, or I don't even know if it's a condition. I don't even know what the hell it's called. But something that really, really, really affected my life for that period of time. Right now, I'm still recovering, guys. I am still in some pain. It has been 3 weeks yesterday. Today is Wednesday. So 3 weeks yesterday since I've had my surgery, and I'm still recovering because that is how severe the infection was. But I would have to say that I'm about 95, 96%. I'm almost there, guys. Thank God I am almost there, because let me just tell you, I've never been through anything so hard and tough in my life. And I have been through a lot of things in my life, guys, a lot of medical issues. As you guys know, literally 7 weeks ago, I had to go in and have cancer removed. Literally, what was it, 3-4 weeks after that? I don't even know. But it's just like one thing after another, after another. But they did, after taking all these blood tests and EKGs and everything, tell me that I am a very healthy person. That's because I no longer have a gallbladder. I no longer have an appendix. I don't even have any tonsils, y'all. I mean, all of the bad things are gone. I don't have them anymore. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to my story as to what happened, where I've been, and the exciting story of what happened to me when I was in the hospital. God, I hope she got fired. And also, guys, I really, really want to thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for all of your thoughts and your prayers and your healing vibes. And so many of you were sending me messages and leaving comments under my update posts and things like that, just sending so much love and prayers. And let me tell you guys, they worked. They really, really worked. And I appreciate that more than anything, more than you guys know. And I love you guys to the moon and back. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. 2024, guys, is gonna be banging, because let me just tell you, my New Year's resolution was to majorly concentrate on my YouTube channel. So you guys are gonna see a lot more going on, a few changes here and there, but good changes. Expect to see a lot more of Jenny Love, guys, because it is game on for 2024 and all future years. Thank you guys so much again for joining me, and I will see you guys really soon. Much love, guys.